Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Press Play Lifestyle Inspired podcast, where we do podcast interviews with inspirational people like our friend Kevin here, as well as provide custom content to help you get the resources, tools, and support you need to be your best inspired self. How are you today?
I'm doing good, and I want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it was St. Patrick's Day. No little leprechauns in our house today. Usually the kids send those home with us.
Well, I want to remind everybody, I hope the luck of the Irish is with us all, and I want to remind everybody that the Irish haven't always been lucky, but the luck of the Irish is that they endure, and that's what we'll do.
I love it. That's beautiful. So, Kevin, you want to tell the people that are listening just a little bit about yourself and what you're doing on our podcast today?
Yes, I'm a children's author of 12 books. Actually, I have 13 books out. I have 12 children's books and one fantasy adult novella for adults or adult books right now. I'm mostly known for being the creator of the Totally Ninja Raccoons.
Oh, I love it. I love the Ninja Raccoons. I actually checked that out a little bit based on as much as you could see with not buying the book right away. So, what kind of led you to writing children's books? Of all, I know you have an adult novella, but you have more children's books. So, what led you down that path?
Well, I wrote children's books. This comes from my experience of working in the bookstore. Actually, my first book was a children's book, and that was the story of how my cat come to live with me. That is called Hobo Finds a Home, and it's a picture book. And that was a very natural progression. It is a story that I would tell my nephews and my nieces of how my cat come to live with me. Because I grew up a dog person, I always loved cats, but my dogs that I grew up with were big dogs that didn't like cats. Some dogs get along with cats and some don't. And so I adopted this cat, or no, the cat adopted me first, which is how you get, how you quite often get your first cat. And this is a story I would tell of how he come to live with me, and it was just kind of came out of an oral tradition. It was very natural to do it in a children's book. And I wrote a column for the local paper, a book review column, and I'm like, I should do this in a book. So actually I took a local class on how to write a children's book, and I wrote the book, and it was very natural. It really flowed. And then I didn't write books for quite a while because I was writing a weekly column for the local paper. So that kind of took care of my need to write. And most writers will tell you that sometimes it's not really that you want to write, you almost have to write. And then my local paper stopped. They got a new editor, and the new editor didn't want to pay me, so it was kind of hard to want to write for them. So I started my children's books, and I chose the Totally Ninja Raccoons both from my interest with raccoons and Coolidges and raccoons. Like, my name's Kevin, but my last name's Coolidge, and Coolidges and raccoons go back a long way. Actually, President Coolidge had a pet raccoon in the White House.
Really?
He did. I mean, he was actually President Coolidge was a big animal lover. He had a pet raccoon. He had a pet cat. There's actually this nice story of President Coolidge, like his cat got out one night, which they're wont to do, and he actually, this was back in the day when the president could actually leave the White House, and he would he walked all over Washington, D.C. looking for his cat, calling for his cat, and it was actually found by somebody else, but he put out the word to find his cat, and he himself went out to look for it. So for those animal lovers, we understand that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the things that I'm curious of, so you own you're a bookstore, right? You run a
Yes,
bookstore, and you're a writer. So is there a way to help turn our kids into little reading ninjas?
there is. And one of the best ways to turn your kid into a reading ninja is to talk to your child and see what they really interest them, because there's a book about almost everything. So one of the things that I find, and I actually wrote these books out of my experience with the bookstore, is you have to engage the children. So when I was a child, and of course I still do, is I chose Ninja Raccoons because I love the animals. I loved ninjas when I was a kid, and I still love ninjas. And each one of these books has a cryptid. Now, for those listeners that are unfamiliar with a cryptid is a creature that is unconfirmed by modern day science. So Bigfoot is an example of a cryptid. So my first book in the series is The Totally Ninja Raccoons Meet Bigfoot. And of course, I love Bigfoot. Children love Bigfoot. And so each one of the ninja raccoons has the raccoons meaning a certain cryptid. So it's something that most children love, and that's one of the reasons why I chose these. Now, not every child is going to love a cryptid, so I mean, kids really love my books, but what's important is to find a book that your children like, whether it's sports or hunting. Chances are there's a book on it. And of course, one of the best things to do is, like, we already know this. I'm not telling any secret answers, but sometimes it's just reminding people what we already know, is to model that behavior. So kids don't like to be lectured to. When I talk to kids, I don't lecture them. I find out what they want to do. Just like with the books, these aren't lectures. These are engaging. They're entertaining. One of the best things to do is to see your child reading too. And there's not a better time than right now with America being kind of shut in. Enjoy a book with a family. Maybe it's a great time, if you already don't have that habit, is start a little bit of reading together, and show them that they're always enjoyable.
So I know my very first book that kind of I'm an avid reader. I love to read. I love to write. What was your first book that you remember being super engaging for you as a child?
Uh, One of the first books that I really remember is that really got me reading. I always have liked reading, but I, I grew up a dog person, and Big Red by Jim Kilgard, I love that book. And it's hard to, it's hard to say no to a good animal story or a good dog story. And that just really hit it for me.
Yeah, but Call of the Wild was a good dog story for me, but I remember my favorite book ever was Ray Bradbury's Martian Chronicles, because I didn't actually realize, like, I was a nerdy student, so everything was very factual and the world was pretty black and white, and it was my first opportunity to see that there could be other things, right? There was other types of written art and other types of things that I could take my mind away from the craziness of my life and let me go to another place. And so that was the first book that showed me there's some fun stuff on the other side of the pages.
I love Bradbury. He's a great writer.
Yeah, he was amazing. He used to write back before computers and all of that, right? His goal was to write one short story and put it in an envelope and send it right to the publishers every week. So he is a very tenacious writer. So another interesting question, because you're an independent bookstore owner, is why should people buy from an independent bookstore versus, say, Amazon?
One of the great reasons to buy from an independent bookstore is because we read the books as well. We do what's known as curating. So the books that we recommend, they're ones that we sold. I mean, it's like going to your local small engine dealer for a chainsaw. They probably use that chainsaw too. We test the books, we read the books. So we do the same thing. We talk to you and say, well, okay, did you like the Hunger Games? What did you like about the Hunger Games? So we'll find something based on what you've already liked, or if you're a regular customer and we know that you usually follow a certain author, we'll let you know when the next book comes out, or we'll find out what you liked. And we do a lot of what's called backlist. So we don't just do, like, sometimes somebody will come in and they're unfamiliar with a bookstore, like, oh, where's your best sellers? I mean, we have bestsellers, of course, but we also do the ones that maybe aren't always on the top of the New York Times bestsellers, the ones that are hidden, the ones that are a great book, but they could use a little bit more of a push. We read some of those books, so we'll send those to you. And actually, what we do by doing that, you actually support creativity, because basically, I mean, we sell James Patterson, and James Patterson is a great friend of bookstores as opposed to being and also a writer. But James Patterson doesn't need much help. So I mean, we sell him, but we'll tell you about somebody else that maybe you haven't heard of, and you'll say, "Boy, I'm glad I've heard of this."
Yeah, so kind of like promoting the independent writers, right, that aren't maybe
Exactly.
represented. Like everyone knows Stephen King, but might not know John Smith, right, or something like that. So you can help them find a great book by maybe a lesser known author.
Exactly.
Wonderful. The other thing I thought that was really funny. So you talked a little bit about cats, and we have dogs. My husband's allergic to cats. That's his excuse for no cats. But um, someone told me to ask you if it was true that cats were going to take over the world.
It is true, and those of us who have cats have suspected this for a long time. Now, have you heard about the cat board?
No.
Well, I'm not surprised because it's a secret organization.
Oh, okay.
But the cat board is an international board of cats who want to take over the world. I only know about it because my cat at home, Gypsy, is the head of the cat board.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. Gypsy sounds pretty sneaky.
She's pretty sneaky.
Yeah,
She
that's
likes
awesome.
to because we have cats at the bookstore, but these like we have Huck and Finn that live at the bookstore, but they live here. And then Gypsy is our cat at home because she's kind of a shy, she's kind of a recluse, and she plots all day about taking over the world.
Yeah. Is it like Pinky and the Brain? Do you remember that old show?
Yes.
It's
So it's a
Gypsy
little
and the other cats, right?
yeah, so it's a little bit like that. It's a little bit of plotting, and of course, she's she's a cat, so she sleeps a lot. So she doesn't want to do the hard work, and that's where the Ninja Raccoons come in. So actually, the Totally Ninja Raccoons are basically cats versus raccoons. So the first
Oh.
book, the Totally Ninja Raccoons Meet Bigfoot, is their origin story. So that's where the raccoons decide that they're going to become ninjas. But then, what do you do once you're a ninja?
You sneak around?
Well, you think around, but you need a ninja job, right? You need a mission.
Yeah.
Gypsy gives the raccoons their first secret mission, and that is to capture the elusive Bigfoot. Because Gypsy wants to use Bigfoot's powers of stealth and invisibility in a request for world domination. See, that would be very helpful. But what ends up happening, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but what happens is Gypsy as cats are prone to do, deceives the Totally Ninja Raccoons, and this sets up the rivalry between the cat board and the Totally Ninja Raccoons.
Ah, that makes sense. So, how many of the ninja books exist right now? Have you?
There are 8 Ninja Raccoons,
Okay.
8 books, and then there's a Totally Ninja Raccoon joke book, which has jokes that you don't have to be familiar with the Totally Ninja Raccoons, but there's some jokes that are specific to the raccoons or are modeled over like some of the characters and situations that happen in the Ninja Raccoons.
So, are there any plans for the ninja raccoons to go on any other missions, or is Gypsy
There
not
are.
decided?
I'm actually writing the next one. I'm writing the Totally Ninja Raccoons Discover the Lost World, and that's going to have dinosaurs.
I love dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are super cool.
They are. You never really outgrow dinosaurs. I loved dinosaurs when I was a child, and dinosaurs are one of the number one because I do school events. And when I go to a school event and I do my presentation to children, there's always a part of the presentation where I ask, what would you like the Ninja Raccoons to meet next? And dinosaurs is always one of the top choices.
Very, very interesting. I love that. I did a recent talk as well at a school with middle schoolers, and I'm in the process of editing for the 50th time a book that I'm writing. And I love the kids are so imaginative. They're just super smart and they know what they want. They know what adventures they want to go on next, which is really cool. So one of the things you described, I'd never heard of a cryptid before, so I think that's super interesting. But so are you really a cryptid hunter? What's that all about?
Well, Cryptid Hunter is somebody who seeks down cryptids. So I'm more of a what's the more of an armchair cryptid hunter, I guess you could say. So like one of my jobs is to write about cryptids, and in the back of each book, I actually encourage a child to be a reading ninja, and I'll put a little bit of the information about the cryptid that I have. So if I have Bigfoot, I put a little bit about information that is out there, and I encourage the children to read more. Is like, is Bigfoot real? Well, I don't know if he's real or not, but I encourage people to make up their own minds, read about more about him in other books, and become a reading ninja and decide for yourself. So I haven't actually seen a cryptid, but I guess you could say I'm a cryptid hunter because I'm always looking.
Always looking. Awesome. So how can kids, parents, whomever, where can they find the Ninja Raccoon books that was also still supports the independent bookstore?
Well, I love bookstores, of course, because I have a bookstore, and you can get signed, personalized copies at my bookstore in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania. Now, I'm in this little rural town in north central Pennsylvania, so I know that that's a little bit off the beaten path. So, of course, you can buy them online at our website. We have a website, and that's easy to remember. It's a bookstore in Wellsboro, so it's wellsborobookstore.com, and that's our site. It will take you right to our site. There's a little search bar. You just type in my name or Ninja Raccoons, and it'll come up, and you can order any of the books. And, of course, I love bookstores, so if you're lucky enough to have a bookstore in your hometown, you can go right into your bookstore and order a Totally Ninja Raccoon. Say, I would like the Totally Ninja Raccoons by Kevin Coolidge. And if they don't stock them, they can order them, because a bookstore, there's so many books, you can't stock everything, but they can readily order them. And that way you can support two bookstores by doing that. And of course, it
Wonderful.
is the modern age, so you can buy them wherever books are sold. So you can buy them on BarnesandNoble.com. You can buy them on eBay or Target or even Amazon. I always mention them last because they don't really need the help. But I would love you to support. I would love you to support your own local bookstore and just order them there. Uh,
That sounds great. So we'll make sure we put your bookstore's address in the show notes, as
okay.
well as some other ways that people can contact you and learn a little bit more about the Ninja Raccoons. If there's anything else to share with the audience today that you want to tell us before we wrap it up today.
Uh, I guess that's it, really.
Go to local, buy local, and check out the next adventure of the Ninja Raccoons.
Yes,
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Kevin. I look forward to staying in touch, and please let us know when the next book comes out.
I will. Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.